It is a fairly cold and somewhat windy morning here in Warner, Alberta. We are along the Canadian Pacific Montana subdivision that runs basically from Lethbridge down to Great Falls, Montana. But we're here because we want to check out the Warner grain elevators. So Warner was very well known in the grain elevator fan circles for being one of the last two elevator rows in Canada. So I said a couple of things there that might need a little clarification. The first is an elevator row. The official definition of an elevator row is a location along a rail line that has 4 or more loading points. And for the purposes of a loading point, twinned elevators count as a single loading point. And there are a set of elevator twins here, so that counts as one loading point. Which brings me to the second comment I made about Warner being one of two, or was one of two elevator rows left in Canada. You can see here this twinned elevator, we have one loading point. Further over there, we have a second, and even further down the track, we have a third. So there are 3 loading points left here in Warner, spread across 4 elevators. So Warner no longer qualifies as an elevator row. The last elevator row in Canada is in Inglis, Manitoba, and there are 5 elevators there in Inglis, and they are actually a protected historic site. So they should, barring some sort of act of arson or vandalism, remain intact for the foreseeable future. That is very much opposed to Warner, which, in addition to no longer being an elevator row, none of these elevators have any sort of historical designation or protection. And that's one of the big reasons why we've made a specific detour to come down here to Warner. The corporate owner, which I believe is the Viterra Corporation or Viterra Corporation, is in the process of getting ready to demolish most of, if not all, of these elevators. So not only is Warner not an elevator row, but before long there's a very distinct possibility most of these elevators will be gone and just a memory. We lost 2 of them, including a very historic hip-roofed 1913 elevator back in November of 2014. And then the other one that was demolished at that point was, I believe, a 1928 grain elevator. So when those 2 were demolished in 2014, that was the end of Warner's elevator row. But we're here to document what's left, and even though it's very cold and very windy, I think we are going to take the opportunity to throw DroneOCan up in the air and see these from above and document them before they're gone. So I don't like throwing DroneOCan up when it's cold and breezy, but it's worth it to document these. Okay, back inside the warmth of the car and out of the wind, and it actually turns out this is going to be a very short mission. There's a couple of problems I'm having. First of all, the iPhone that I connect to my controller to fly with says it has a dead battery, despite the fact I fully charged it when we left home and it's been turned off this entire time. I don't know what happened there. But we also have a second problem. And that's, if we look at the controller, it says I'm in a no-fly zone. I'm not exactly sure why. Let's take a look. And yes, if I look here in the Air Map app, you can perhaps see, except for all the glare, that there is a small airport across the highway from us, and the entire town of Warner is one gigantic no-fly zone. So that's going to make this a much different video than I anticipated making. I'll still get some more footage of the elevators from down here at ground level. So no DroneOCan footage on this trip, but that's okay. Sometimes being a rule follower really sucks. So here we go. Some less dramatic ground footage of the Warner elevators. There's the twin. And as you can see, they are all owned by Viterra, or I believe they're all owned by Viterra. And this is the spot right in here where we used to have that great 1913 elevator that's now long since demolished. And I believe this one here, the northernmost one, is the newest of these. I believe it was built in the late 1950s or as late as 1960. But there we go. Warner's elevator, or former elevator row. Always check for trains.